And here is part 2.
Bad times, I don't wanna have bad.
But now it feels like we're like ramping up to get back on some kind of Good Charlotte like mission.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is. I know we're gonna make music.
Yeah.
Play some shows, but
Well, like I said, give us a call. We're ready to go. Co-headline, baby. Or whatever it is.
that will absolutely. I feel like I don't know when, but that like
It
has to
happen, right?
Yeah.
I agree. At some point, it has to
mean,
happen.
there's so many places we could go. Mm-hmm. I mean, imagine if we did South America tour together. That would be.
Yep.
Both of our bands do really well there.
You could literally take that and take it to Europe. You can take it to Canada, U.S., South America, Australia, Asia.
South America, South Africa.
Yeah.
Sick.
Have you guys been there?
Sick, yeah.
Yeah. We went there once. We played once there a long time ago, a festival with Metallica. It was Metallica, Collective Soul, a bunch of, I think, most amazing experience ever.
It's sick.
So much fun. We did a safari.
Our shows there were sick.
Yeah.
Australia, sick.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous.
Yeah, you guys do well in Australia.
Yeah.
You lived there for a while, right? Didn't you have you were on was it The Voice?
I was doing The Voice, so I was there a lot for like 5 years.
That's when I saw you with my wife.
Yeah.
And I think, with my daughter, Lennon, was like 1.
Yeah.
And Soren was about to pop.
Yeah.
And you were staying at that hotel in Darling Harbor.
Yeah.
We had a little dinner.
It was weird. I got busted for weed there. It was funny. I was staying at that hotel. It wasn't even my weed.
Come on, Joel. That's the oldest excuse in the book.
I don't smoke weed. It was like someone was smoking weed. Like I had I have a bunch of friends there.
Yeah.
And somebody came and they like smoked weed and left like a joint somewhere.
Right.
I didn't even know where it was. Mm-hmm. It was like a balcony or something. I don't know. And the housekeepers there found the little
instead of throwing it out, they
was like
reported
this big. It was this little.
Oh my god!
And they reported it, and I had it was like a big controversy. Like I almost got kicked out.
That's so crazy.
They were cool in the end.
Yeah.
Like I talked to the police. All the authorities were like, "Look, the law's a law. They called us. We have to handle."
Yeah.
And then it became
it's not my weed.
And then it became like a news story in Australia. It's like a news-driven country. So if the headline of the week, everybody knows it.
Yeah.
So it was
That's
like
funny.
a headline, like it was like a front page. Like I got busted with weed, and it was like I'm actually not a weed smoker.
Joel Madden says it's not his pot.
Yeah. And the young people,
I was holding it for a friend.
The younger people thought it was cool.
Yeah.
At the time, I mean, weed's a lot less cool now.
Oh my god,
Like,
it's so chill now.
it's so chill now. It's like not.
Although
a big
it's
deal.
still kind of weird because it's legal in so many places, but traveling with it's not legal.
No, you can't.
Yeah,
you'll get.
It's really weird.
But Canada's a lot less intense now going in
Yeah,
than it used to be.
Yeah, it's still.
I don't get ripped
Canadian
apart
Border
like I used
Patrol
to.
they're dicks.
They're notorious.
They're dicks, man. And I'm not saying the American Border Patrol are also pretty strict.
They're pretty strict sometimes.
But like, people are always like, Canadians are so nice. I'm like, wait till you cross the border.
Yeah.
They're like,
yeah,
it's funny. Pretty funny. Australians are funny because I find that Australians, similar to Canadians, there's something about Americans. Americans are like, freedom, don't tell me what to do.
We love our freedom.
Yeah. And by the way, I love that. I think it's great. And I think that that's part of like what I like about America. And in Canada, we're much more used to being told what to do and like be like, well, the government said you're supposed to do that, so we do that. And Australia is very, very similar. So they really like rules, or they really like enforcing rules.
Yeah.
So I'm not surprised that the housekeeping was like, found a little piece. I have to report this.
Call
it's
the
like,
police.
just throw it away. Like, come on. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, it was weird. The police were cool.
Well, they're probably thinking like, we don't want to be called.
They were
on
like,
this.
bro, we're involved.
Yeah.
So we have to handle this.
Yeah.
And I was like, do what you have to do.
Yeah.
What can I say?
Yeah.
That was my attitude. I wasn't like mad at them.
Yeah.
The whole thing was pretty pleasant because I get along with Australia very well.
Yeah, they're great.
So the last thing I would do in Australia is
You don't want to upset people, yeah.
Yeah, and the police are always good to me there. Like I knew that. Like there was a very warm relationship with people. So like they knew who I was because I was doing that show, and it was like very chill. The whole thing was pretty chill. They were like, "Look, dude, we got called. We have to handle it legally." And I was like, "Yeah, I get it. Do it. It's not mine, but like whatever you have to do."
Yeah.
And it ended up being nothing.
Yeah,
like
it's like a half.
I did what I had to do, and everyone,
yeah.
and I got the citation of some kind. I think legally I got arrested, but then they let me go.
Right.
And
Drop the charges or whatever,
it was
yeah.
fine.
Yeah.
But it was a funny story about that hotel.
That's funny.
Yeah. I never went back.
What's that? You never went
I
back?
moved out of the
Yeah.
hotel and never went back.
Oh, that's funny. Right after that?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Well, I imagine that's kind of a dick thing to do.
I went to one of my best friends has a house in Bondi, big house. And now I stay in his guest house. Even to this day, when I go to Australia, I stay at his house. And it's great.
I love Australia. It is, to me, like, it's funny because I think if it was closer, I would consider living there. It's
Best
just
place.
really far.
It's far.
It's far from what? It depends what is far for you. But like, if you like want to keep in touch with friends and family, like it is literally.
It's far.
It can't be.
It's an ideal place to live. It's an ideal place to raise kids. The culture's really good.
Climate's great.
The climate's amazing. The food's amazing. The people are the nicest in the world. Most weirdly, like half my friends are Australian. It's weird. I have like a very Aussie side to my life that like I just feel connected to. I see Australians everywhere in the world. Everywhere you go, there's Australians traveling. LA has tons of Australians because it's a very like, it's like the first stop. You fly from Australia to get off.
No, I love it. We were just there. We just got back, and the
shows are amazing.
Great coffee, man. Their coffee culture. I love coffee.
Best coffee in the world.
Yeah, they have like so many that you can get like fourth wave, third wave coffee everywhere.
Yeah,
I mean, it's
best coffee in the world.
great beaches.
Great beaches, and the shows are like the best. Like really, always been the best.
Yeah, we had a great time.
Yeah,
Couldn't believe.
Pretty great.
Yeah,
yeah, they love you guys there.
evidently. Yeah,
they do.
Yeah, we did two nights at the what's it called? I don't know what it was. Anyways,
Not the Enmore.
no, but it's 5,000 people. 2 nights sold out in Sydney.
Horton, right?
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
Yeah, Horton Pavilion.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then Melbourne, we did whatever.
Rod Laver.
Not that one. The one a little bit smaller, 10,000.
Okay.
Because Rod Laver is like 15 or something.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was crazy. It's awesome. I love it.
For me, anything over 3,000 is a fucking great show.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Like when you get any crowd over
Sweet spot.
3,000.
Yeah. Anything
is like
over
sweet
3,000 is
spot.
great. Yeah. I love like a 3,500, 4,000, 5,000. That's like
fun.
Still feels intimate a little
Yeah.
bit.
Yeah.
I love that I say
Have
that.
you guys
It's
done
not-
Alley Pally in UK?
Yes, we did.
It's pretty good.
Yeah. You know what? I don't love that venue. I know it's like, I don't think it sounds very good.
Really?
Yeah.
I love it.
It's cool with all the chandeliers and stuff. And like,
Yeah.
it's very, like, it's got a cool look to it.
Yeah.
But like, I know we just played it with Sum 41 last year. And I know Pierce the Veil just sold it out, I think.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
I'm sure they did.
Pretty epic. Alley Pally.
Alley Pally. It's
Alexandra
a good.
Palace.
What's the other place?
I think we played it for the first time last year. And I guess my point is that I was a little bit maybe disappointed. I was like, like it's,
Not as good as you thought.
yeah.
As far as like your experience.
Yeah.
The crowd's great there.
Yes.
The English crowd. is
Totally. I just
insane.
like a little bit of seating. And Alley Pally's all floor.
Yeah, I
right?
like a floor. I like a
Yeah.
big floor.
I like a big floor, and I like to have some backdrop.
some people
Yeah.
waving to you.
Because that way, when they put their cell phones up, it looks really nice.
Yeah. And then you did Brazil.
Yeah, Brazil was like a couple months ago. That was insane, man. Yeah, like it was funny. We got there, we headlined a show in Sao Paulo, which was like 8,000 people, I think, and then we did a festival the next day in Sao Paulo, 50,000 people,
Oh, wow.
and it was with the Day to Remember, The Used, Boys Like Girls. I'm forgetting some, but All Time Low.
Right.
A bunch of people. It was great.
It's like When We Were Young Junior Fest.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it was like 2 stages side by side. And like
great.
it ended with like confetti, fireworks when we finished perfect. It was like we're playing the last chorus, freaking fireworks going off.
Sick.
We have drone shots that are just mind blowing. But it was funny because I got there and I was a little nervous because it was our first time back. We did a European tour and then we had like a 2-week break or 10-day break. And it was like a first 2 shows coming back at it. And I was like, this is going to be really big. And I'm like, we're playing for like an hour and a half or so, or an hour and 10. And I was a little nervous and I didn't know
good
what it was
set.
going to look like. You know what I mean? So I purposely didn't go out because everyone would come back off the stage, which is All Time Low or The Used or whatever. And they're like, man, have you seen the crowd? And I'm like, no, I haven't. And I'm like, I don't want to see it. I'm like, I'm already a little bit nervous and I just want to like keep it in, you know? So I warmed up backstage and stayed there. And I walked out on stage. And when I saw the crowd of 50,000 people in front of me, I was like, what is happening? And that was one of those moments where,
Dude, I felt that way when we were young.
yeah, when we were young, it was insane.
Dude, it was like
Yeah.
80,000, 90,000 in front of us. Like,
Yeah. That was so much fun last year.
it was fun.
Yeah.
It was really fun.
You guys had a sweet spot of a set. Were you playing at 5 o'clock?
Yeah, it was us and then Offspring.
Yeah. and then Blink, and then Green Day. Yeah, yeah.
So
You
it was
guys-
a sweet spot.
Yeah, you got the sweet spot.
Like
that was
really good
the-
spot.
That and the Offspring was like when it gets dark. We played the
Yeah, it was
other
just
stage.
sunset.
Yeah, we played the other stage. I think right after you guys.
Yeah.
Yeah, right after you guys. When you guys are finished, and it was like so great. It cools down a little bit. Light show now means something. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, we brought the lights, pyro, we brought
Yeah,
everything.
It's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was cool to see you guys there. Are you guys doing it this year?
No. But
We are doing
we
it.
would do it again.
Yeah.
It was fucking fun.
Yeah.
And then we just did a one-off little, like a one song in the middle of Wiz Khalifa's set.
Yeah,
at
Stagecoach. I saw that. I saw that footage. Yeah, it
was so fun.
Cool. Yeah, I love Stagecoach. My wife, it always falls on my wife's birthday, and she's a big country girl, California girl.
Yeah.
And we were in the car coming back from working on a little project, a little building project, and came back, and they were playing it live on Sirius. So we were listening to Miranda Lambert. She was like,
Yeah.
"Oh, I wish I was there."
It was cool.
Yeah. But
You-
that first day on Saturday, it was really windy. So
Yeah, I heard
they
that.
had some friends. Michelle had some friends that were there, and they were like, "Oh my god, it was so blown out."
So you guys are working on a documentary right now?
Yeah,
What's the
for Amazon, and it's
Okay.
like basically, I think it's kind of like a sort of let's look at the career and like we're still here and how well it's going and where it came from, and just kind of like a recap. I think
it's like a retrospective.
Yeah,
It's cool.
yeah, sort of like the band started like in '99, basically.
Yeah.
So a 25-year sort of recap.
Yeah. That's 25 years is real, man.
Yeah. And Chuck and I, we had a band before Simple Plan. I'm sure maybe you know that.
Yep.
But yeah, so we've been playing together for 31 years.
That's crazy.
Yeah. It's getting long.
It's a long time.
And I love Chuck. It's so funny that we ended up, being in a band together, and we always have been, because we're so different. You know what I mean? And I think that really helps us, because I think if I didn't have someone like him to be like the more manager side of it and the more like drive side of it, I don't know that I would have that, and I would kind of like maybe fizzle away. And I bring the creativity and the front man, the singing, all that stuff, and he writes with me. But he does, he's just like
He's the left
he's a
side of the
manager.
brain.
Yeah,
You're the right side.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And some people have it both.
Yeah.
But we're kind of like, but accepting those differences. Because then when I was younger, I actually kicked him out of the first band we were in, because I was like, I don't like you, you're not like me, and it's not going to work.
Right.
But then I realized with a little maturity, I was like, oh, hold on, I need that. I can respect the differences and realize that their value, the value of those differences.
So how did you go back to him after you kicked him out of the first band?
So the first band, we made a few like demo tapes and stuff. We recorded a record in my parents' basement, and then we made a full-blown album on an indie label in '97, and went across Canada, toured with 10 Foot Pole, and toured with MXPX.
Yep.
In '98, I think. And then kicked him out because it was like we were just too young and immature, and I was like, "You're not cool."
So what was the conversation when you went back to him?
So when I went back, I had heard through the grapevine, because the band continued, and I'd heard that he was like building a new band, and it was like with some guys from my high school, which we all went to high school together, and so I like was starting. People were like, "Did you know Chuck's starting a new band?" And I was like, "Oh, cool." And he's like, "Yeah, it's with like Jeff and Sebastian from high school," and I was like, "Oh, cool." And then I made another record with that other band, and it was kind of like fizzling away, because the record was good, but we didn't have that driving force behind it. And the collaboration creatively, was not quite the same. He's good with concepts. So anyways, I ended up going to Sugar Ray show, because I used to go to all the shows back in Montreal, because I used to,
Yeah, you were a show
I knew
junkie.
the promoters, and we'd always just get him for free.
Yeah.
So I ended up being there, and he was there too.
Okay.
So we saw each other in a crowd. We hadn't spoken in like a year and a half. And it was kind of like, "Hey man, how's it going? Good to see you." We kind of, hugged it out. And he was like, "We should go have some dinner sometimes, because, I'm starting a new band. And I'd love for you to hear what we're doing." And I was like, "Yeah, that's cool. So we ended up having dinner like the following week, and kind of buried the hatchet, because it was a nasty kind of breakup. But we buried the hatchet, and like, he's like, "Come see the band." So I went back to his parents' basement where we used to rehearse, and saw Jeff and Sebastian and some other bass player guy. And they had a couple pieces of songs, and it was more like Reset was super metal. It was like the guitar player in that band was literally a metal fan. So all he cared about was, and I was getting tired of just going, and I wanted to like strum the guitar, So what Sebastian and Jeff and Chuck were doing was kind of like more influenced by, Blink-182 and like kind of a little more poppy side. And I was like, this is cool. I like that. And that's when he was like, well, if you want to come join the band,
We
we're
need a
looking
singer.
we're looking for a singer,
Yeah.
and we've had a few, and I don't feel like anybody's kind of nailing it the way you used to. And so I was like excited because he also kind of baited me. He was like, we got major label interest and we got like stuff going on. And I was like, oh, okay, well, my band's kind of fizzling away slightly. I know Chuck is like a business guy. And I was like, I know that if I join this band, he's going to like reach out to labels and we're going to get a manager and it's going to be like way more serious.
Yeah.
And so when he said, yeah, we've got some major label interest and stuff, I was like, all right, let me give it a try. So we started writing some songs together. We wrote I'd Do Anything, like one of the first songs we did. And I was hooked. I was like, this is like more what I want to be.
This is the sauce.
Yeah.
And then Jason Flom signed you.
Yeah. So you know Andy Karp?
Yeah.
Andy Karp was A&R and Jason Flom was the president of the label. And so we harassed Andy Karp. We just like send him demos and stuff. And he was one of the labels that responded and said, keep me in the loop. I don't want to sign you guys, but I like what you're doing. Keep me in the loop. So we just kept going back in the studio and making more demos, and we got him on the hook. He came down to Montreal to watch us play. And after the show, we'd like packed this bar with like 200 friends, and we actually passed out lyric sheets like the day before, like learn the songs. Yeah. So and we played a show to like a little tiny bar about a little bigger than this room here. And Andy at the end was like, I think we want to make a deal. And so he called up Jason, and Jason said, yeah, I like this band.
Cool.
Yeah.
When we were going through our bidding war and stuff, Jason was one of the main contenders. We didn't sign with him, but we've been friends ever since.
You know what? I bet you if you signed with them, he wouldn't have signed us, because every label was looking for their Newfound Glory, Good Charlotte,
Some 41.
They were looking for their own.
Yeah, I don't know. I think you guys would have gotten signed.
We would have gotten signed somewhere.
Yeah.
But it might have changed the course of what that path would have been.
Yeah, yeah. I remember that. That was an exciting time.
Yeah.
We didn't know anything about it. We were just like, how do you get signed?
Yeah.
And then before you know it, all the labels were coming to a show. So we did the same thing. We were like, all of our friends, everyone, you got to come to this show. We packed out this club.
Yeah.
400, 500 people. It made us look like we were the hottest band in the area. I mean, we were building a thing there. So it was already, we were getting to open for like Blink and getting to open like regionally for these bands. So we were
getting there,
doing stuff.
Yeah.
But like we put the extra elbow grease in.
Like until you make it, baby.
Packed that club out.
Yeah.
And it was, I remember that night because we tried really hard. We were like getting everyone we knew to come. And in the end, we signed with Epic. But it was exciting. It was, it was a wild time.
Yeah, it's cool. And Jason's a cool guy. And like he actually came out to our show. We did a US tour, I want to say like 2 years ago or something like that.
Yeah.
And we played that Pier place, Pier 27, Pier 23, whatever it's called.
Pier 14.
Is it 14? I think it's 20 something.
27,
Whatever.
14,
Whatever.
28.
Pier 17? Whatever it is.
17.
Something like that. One of those piers.
Good venue.
Yeah, it's a great venue. And we played, and Jason came out because his kids, who were babies when we came out, are now like, adults, and they like the band.
Yeah.
And he came out, and it's funny because when we first got signed, Lava would bring us out to MTV, VH1. That's kind of how we broke. We broke through TV first.
Yeah.
Which is, kind of unorthodox. But Jason would come with us to these meetings. We'd go to a conference room, and we'd literally buy these shitty little, and I don't mean like little, I mean tiny instruments, like an amp this big, a drum kit that's like, a baby drum kit.
Yeah.
And like Andy Karp would go to Radio Shack and buy like shitty like light things, like little globes things.
Yeah.
And we'd go to MTV into their offices, and we'd like schedule a meeting and we'd play, but like a tiny rock show. Like, and Jason would come and be like, his whole speech was this, and this is what's funny. He would go out and he would say, all right, what's all you people's MTV? Thank you guys so much for being here. We always think you guys here, you deserve the best. You want the best. You love the best. They weren't available. So here's simple plan. And then we started playing, and people would be like, what the hell's going on here? And they would, obviously it worked.
It worked.
So when we played in New York a couple years ago, Jason came out and he introduced us that exact same way on stage. It was really cool.
And the night we met was on the MXPX tour. You guys came out. You had just signed, I think. Or you
Possibly.
were in
Yeah.
You were in the process.
Yeah, I think
we're about to get signed because you had your demos. You had like a CD of your demos, and you were like, either you had just signed,
we either had, or it was in the works,
or you were about to. You were like right there.
Yeah.
And then you guys like drove us around in your parents' car and had a night.
I think that Benji, I still remember this because we thought you guys were super cool because you were ahead of us a little bit, right? So you already had the record out, you already had a little bit of following, you were on a big tour. And so you're like, hey, yeah, we'll take you guys out. You want to go somewhere? And we're in the car with my dad's old BMW. No, sorry, old Mercedes. And it sounds fancy, but it's not. It was it was old Mercedes. And I'm driving around and you guys are in the back seat. And I think Benji said, like, you guys know where we could find some crack? And I was like, I wasn't sure if you were joking. And I was so like, I don't know.
Let me think about that.
Yeah,
I remember that.
And like Chuck and I are like, oh my God, what do we get into? And then you're like, we're messing with you, man. And I was like, oh shit, that's so weird. Like, we're so naive, You're like, oh my
that
God,
was
they
fun.
want crack?
That was a really fun tour.
Yeah, it was super fun. It was really funny, by the way.
Yeah, that was funny. That sounds like us.
Yeah.
Like, you guys get to score us some crack cocaine?
Yeah.
Just kidding.
Yeah.
Never done crack in my life.
No, me either. I heard it's great though.
I was always terrified of drugs, but that was a fun tour. That MXPX tour, I still always say that was like one of the most important tours we ever did, because not only were they such nice guys and still are, we learned a lot about building your touring life and building like your crew and building like going from like a bunch of kids in a van to like a touring, like this is a business. Like you need it to run well, to do well. You and then you want to build good relationships with all the venues around the country and around the world. And that really comes down to like how you run your crew and who you have on your crew. And you remember Mark Holloway?
Yeah, of course.
I just saw him because he's Wiz's tour manager.
I just saw him. I think I saw him in Vegas, didn't I? I think when we were young. I just saw him not long ago.
Yeah. But he was our tour. He was like our first real tour manager.
Yeah, I remember him.
It's funny how that I saw a bunch of people at Stagecoach that I've known forever. Greg Teal, I saw all these guys.
Yeah, they're all still there.
It was so
all the
great.
Warped Tour, the Kevin Lyman group, they're all out there.
It was great.
I think it's Shelly doing catering, right? Tada Catering.
Probably.
Yeah.
I didn't go to catering.
Yeah.
I wish I would.
Shelly Lynn, baby.
Yeah.
Love her.
Do you have a record?
No, so it's time to go back in the studio. We just did a little project. So Disney realized that a lot of pop punk bands and rock bands are covering all these Disney classics.
Yeah.
And they're like, people really love them. They're getting millions of spins. They're like, let's do an official version. So Disney is doing like Mickey Goes Pop Punk or something like that. And it's like Boys Like Girls, We the Kings, us. I think Yellow Card. I think
cool.
A bunch of people. And we're all covering classic soundtrack songs. So we just did one. That's coming out soon.
Sick.
But it's time to get back in the studio. It's time to get back to writing. And it's like, it's funny because it's such a big endeavor to make a record, especially this late in a career when you've had success and you have fans that care and you care. And what's the mark? What's the target? What are we trying to do?
Yeah.
And I think there's a part of us, you got to balance that artistic side of you that wants to do like, I don't want to do any of that shit. I want to do something completely out of left field. But then the smart man in me is like, you build a brand, you know what I mean? And like people, I think it's disappointing even for me. If I hear a band that I love come out with a record that sounds completely different, that's not what I want. I want you to do what you sound like.
Yeah.
So that makes it hard to like get back in the studio or get back into writing and be like, okay, now we have to do something that sounds like what we've done in the past, but it's fresh and it's got to be cool and it's got to be this. So anyways, it's a big endeavor, but we're going to start. I was just thinking about when I left the house, I was like, you know what? It's time for me to start writing some music.
Yeah. That's the artistic journey.
Yeah.
Trying to figure out.
It's hard.
It is hard. And we're talking about the same thing. We're like, what's the record? What's it sound like? And I don't even know. And by the way, some artists, they need to go left. Like it's something else.
Yeah.
It's so I don't know what it is for us, but blocking out a month or two and like putting your sights on making a record is a hard thing to do.
I think what I would like to do is I would like to try to make a record without overthinking it. And I don't know if I'm capable of that, but I would like to make a record where we get together and like, let's write it in a month.
Yeah.
And that's it. And like, we're doing like,
put it out.
We're writing 3 songs a week for 4 weeks. It'll be 12 songs.
And then just put it out.
And like, if it's, cause we notoriously, like, I think on our 3rd record, we wrote for like a year.
Yeah.
Like 80 songs. You know what I mean?
Well, when you're trying to follow up 2 records that sold millions and millions of
especially when the industry is changing. We did the 2 first records and then nobody was playing pop punk anymore. And they're like, okay, well, you guys are, nobody wants to hear Simple Plan anymore. What are you going to do now?
Yeah. You get on the other side of that and you appreciate like that is what it means to have a career over decades is those moments too.
Yeah, totally.
make no mistake, right now, look, I think we're entering a decade of guitar music. I think someone said it was up 600% in the last year.
Wow.
So we're coming into an era of people want to discover bands, listen to rock music, and that's going to be great. It's already great. We're seeing it with a lot of bands we work with. They're just like flying. It's amazing. On the other side of that is obviously it goes up and down and up and down. So when you're in a career long enough, I think you learn that's just what it means.
Yeah. I'm excited. We'll see what we come up with, but I think that my daughters are 10 and 12 and they listen to bands with guitars in it.
Yeah,
and they're into it. So we'll see.
Congrats.
Thank you, man. Same to you guys. I'm always so happy to see all you guys are doing. And like I said, like I'm not really an entrepreneur outside of my band. And when I see what you guys have built and like this place here and the Veeps and the management and Madden, all that, I think it's really dope.
Thank you,
really
man.
cool.
I appreciate that. That means a lot. It's been a long time we've known each other.
Yeah.
And I'm always happy. I see your life from the outside, and it feels like a guy who's figured out what life's about. And that's nice to see.
Yeah. Well, thank
There's
you.
a lot of people don't get on the other side of entertainment success and land in a place where they can be healthy, live a long time, and enjoy life. The old kind of all the best things in life are free is true.
Mm-hmm.
Like the things we enjoy the most are the things that we build with our partners, with our kids. And I never take it for granted when I sit around at the dinner table with my family and feel those moments of just peace and happiness. And all of that was provided to me from this career, from these fans, from this music, from this scene. Yeah. So I never take it for granted. I know how hard it was. I know how hard we worked. But at the end of the day, to be able to land there and actually feel it is a huge success. A bigger success in my mind than the 50,000 people in Brazil, even though that's amazing. The documentary, amazing. But the big success to me is being able to sit there with your family and go like, this is good. Like all the other stuff, icing, I'm going to keep getting after it. But this is, I protect this.
Yeah, it's the core.
So I'm happy you're there.
Thank you, man.
It's awesome, bro.
We keep working on it all the time,
Every day.
Yeah.
Thanks, dude.
Thank you.
I hope you enjoyed today's episode of Artist Friendly. If you really liked it, you can follow, like, subscribe to the show anywhere you listen to podcasts, Spotify, Apple, Amazon. We appreciate your support, and we'll see you next time.
Bad times, I don't